you serve on committees. Now, do you ask to be on a committee, or do you get appointed to be on a committee?
So we put in a wish list.
Okay.
And the way I do it, I have extensive background because I have served in so many town offices, whether it's for veterans or county government, water treatment. I really have kind of a vast base of knowledge.
Sure.
Also being an attorney helps. And so I put in a request to chair revenue. I also said I want to keep my my position as vice chair in consumer protection and public licensure, and that really does things like outdoor dining, licenses everything but medical. And then, you know, the cannabis business, my background as a business attorney, we wanted to promote in communities where there was a decision to move forward with that, make sure that business was was really serving the community as well as it should be and the way it should be. Also tourism. My communities, all 8 of them, are very foundationally tourism based in terms of the economy, and I also know a lot about that. I've also run a bed and breakfast in my background.
Right, which is great. So you're also on the Economic Development and Emergency Technologies, the Joint Committee on Financial Services, and the Joint Committee on Transportation.
Exactly.
And now these committee seats that you're on, or chair or vice chair, are all part of the process of creating bills. Is that correct?
That's right. Okay.
So a bill is created or put forth in January, and then it's sent to committees.
Right.
So let's talk about the most important bills that you're working on, especially where you're the chairperson of the Joint Committee on Revenue.
Sure. So from beginning to end, I may be speaking at a builders forum, and I literally will ask people, what should the legislature be working on to help you in building housing? We know that's a fundamental issue for businesses all over. And one of the builders said it would be great if we had a tax credit because I have to house my employees who are contractors from all over the place. So I moved that bill forward. It then got assigned to committee. When it is calendared, I would then come before the committee and testify about why that's important, where the idea came from, the fact that we need housing, and we want to incentivize builders to have as many employees and contractors as they can. So beginning to end, and then it would come out of that committee either with a favorable or a not favorable or no action, and hopefully move forward from there. That's just one example that's I think crucial for housing.
And this is a process that goes on all the time.
It does.
For all the bills that have been filed and all the committees that you're sitting on, it's a revolving door of activity.
It really is, and there might be, you know, in one day even 40 bills that are heard, and there may be, you know, 5 or 6 people who are testifying on behalf of those bills. You can look at the State House website and actually sign up to follow certain bills, or you can contact my office. Ask when the hearing might be if you want to come into the State House and actually testify. You also are allowed to just hand in written testimony, but it's kind of interesting to come to the hearing to see what's happening. Before I was even a senator, I came to a hearing about the Holtec decommissioning, just as a Board of Selectmen member, and I really was fascinated by the process.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Now, the budget is set, and it goes to the governor to sign. Now, the budget is set based on what?
So it's based on the needs of the communities as well as the collections from taxes and other means. And so as chair of the Joint Committee on Revenue, the Senate chair, the governor came before myself and the House chair and presented her budget moving forward. Then both the Senate and the House, you know, also have input into that. And it sort of goes through a committee review, and then there's a decision of the legislature what the budget should be, and then the governor has a chance to either agree or disagree or piecemeal disagree.
Yeah, and she can veto certain lines.
Correct.
Okay, and then you can go back and revisit those vetoed lines.
That's right.
And try to fight for it again.
Absolutely. We're doing that on a tax bill coming up. Right now, I'm part of the committee to review the tax bill, and we're hoping to get moving on that soon. Whether it there are many suggestions about that are pro-housing, suggestions, taking care of people with lesser means, and also suggestions about incentivizing businesses, which I always think is really important, because if you have successful businesses, it's not only interesting for your community, but it keeps the individual tax base low.
Right, and people employed. I mean, it's a win-win everywhere you look at it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we go too far further, I just wanted to ask about commissions, task force, and caucuses. Now, those are also things that come up that you might be assigned to, or let's, for example, the commission, Early Education and Care Economic Review Commission.
Sure. So I am the second lead senator on commonstartma.org, which is the child care bill that we've been talking about. And so that commission that you just mentioned, I asked to be assigned to that from the Senate president, and was assigned because I wanted to be in the room when all the research was presented so that I could have input. And I just got back from Nashville, as I was mentioning, about a nationwide conversation with legislators on childcare. How do we fund it? How do, does Vermont have a great idea to fund it? Vermont actually did a sort of a payroll tax because their thinking was working families are the ones that really need it. Right. If we did it in a payroll tax, everyone would contribute it, bosses along with workers. So that's one thought, but it's committees are where a lot of work gets done.
Okay, that's a commission.
Yep.
A caucus, like you're in the Coastal Caucus, the Food Security Caucus, the Zero Waste Caucus, Manufacturing Caucus. What is a caucus?
So a caucus is also a formal group of House and Senate folks, but it does work sort of more detailed on particular items. I'm on the Regional Transit Authority caucus, along with, in fact, I'm chair of that, along with Human Service Transportation. I have a particular belief that when communities want to be really efficient and vibrant, transportation is foundational for that. And we were very successful, Representative Natalie Blais and I, to get a boosted funding for RTAs. So you look at GATRA, for example.
And RTA stands for?
Regional Transit Authority.
Okay.
So GATRA is in Plymouth. And what I did was I took public transportation, so RTAs, from my house in Falmouth. I was on a Cape Cod RTA, and then I got to Kingston, jumped on GATRA, and then all working fine, great informed bus drivers, really great setup if you did have the handicap assistance needed, and got to the subway system and kind of went a little, it was a 4-hour delay, all told.
Okay.
But then I was able to sort of run up the State House stairs like Rocky when I got off at Park Street. So, we've got some work to do in the switches and all, but
it's not perfect. But
it's not perfect. But that's what the caucuses are for, to really, delve in deep on those issues.